Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are tackling something that, well, let's be honest, most of us dread, the cold call. But what if I told you there's a way to completely flip the script? We're going to break down this really counterintuitive technique that can turn that instant no into genuine curiosity.
I mean, have you ever felt like you're just hitting a brick wall with your cold calls? If you're in sales, I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. You dial the number, you start your pitch, and poof. The conversation is over before it even really gets started. It's so frustrating, right? And it can feel like a total waste of your day.
You know the one? Hi, my name is so-and-so, and the reason I'm calling is, and then click. That script? It's pretty much dead on arrival. The second those words come out of your mouth, you can practically feel the defenses shooting up on the other end of the line. So today, we're going to dig into exactly why that happens, and way more importantly, what you can do about it. And it involves a really fascinating bit of psychology. Okay, so first things first. Let's really get into the nitty-gritty of why this traditional approach is just, well, it's broken. And here's the kicker. It's got nothing to do with your product or how great your offer is. It all comes down to the first, 10 seconds of that call. I mean, just try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. They're getting these calls all day long. And guess what? They almost all start the exact same way. So when you call and you sound like every single other person, you're basically tripping a wire in their brain. It's like a pattern recognition thing. Their brain just screams, sales call, and boom, the walls go up. Instantly.
And what's really going on here, it's actually pretty simple psychology. See, you're not just fighting for their attention. You're actually fighting against their brain's own hardwired defense systems. Think of it like this. The standard pitch, the one we all know, it basically activates their fight-or-flight response. Their brain sees it as a threat to their time, their focus, and the immediate reaction is flight. Get off this call. But, and this is the cool part, there's another way, a different approach that can totally bypass this whole defense system and trigger curiosity instead. And once you've got their curiosity, their guard comes down, and suddenly they're actually inviting you into a real conversation.
Okay, so the big question is, how in the world do you flip that switch? How do you go from automatic resistance to genuine curiosity? Well, the answer is kind of weird. It's totally counterintuitive. It's not about sounding more confident or more polished. In fact, it's about sounding, well, the complete opposite.
This is a technique from sales trainer Jeremy Miner, and it's brilliant because it taps into a really core part of our human nature, our instinct to help someone who seems a little bit lost. I mean, think about it, right? If someone stops you on the street and asks for directions, what's your first instinct? It's to help them, not to just blow them off. And this technique, it applies that exact same principle to a cold call. And here's why it works so well. When you use a slightly confused, maybe even an uncertain tone, and you ask for help, you just completely shatter their expectations. Their brain doesn't know how to categorize you as a salesperson anymore. You're not a threat. Instead, you're just someone who needs a little help, and that makes them actually want to engage with you.
All right, so let's get practical. How does this all come together in a framework that you can actually use no matter what industry you're in? And listen, this isn't about memorizing a script word for word. It's about really understanding the psychology of each step.
So there are basically 4 stages here. First up is that confused opening. Something like, "Hi, John, I was wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment." See that tone? Then you downplay yourself. You say something like, "It's just James calling." That word "just" is huge. It makes you seem way less threatening. The third step is key. You frame a problem, you don't pitch a solution. And finally, you ask for direction, not a meeting. And the words you choose here are absolutely critical. You got to use neutral, non-threatening words like possible or could be. For example, if you say, "I want to talk about the gaps in your accounting," they're just going to say, "No, we don't have any." But what if you ask about possible hidden gaps that could be causing you to overpay? Ah, see the difference? You're planting this little seed of curiosity without setting off any alarms.
Okay, this is where it gets really good. Let's look at a couple of real-world examples to see just how powerful this technique can be. This is where all the theory turns into actual, tangible results.
Okay, for our first scenario, let's say you're trying to get past a gatekeeper. You're selling recruiting software to a trucking company. Now remember, your goal here is not to sell to the receptionist. It's to get them to help you find the right person to talk to. So you frame the problem in a way that matters to the business. Vacant trucks, right? That means lost money. Everyone gets that. And then, here's the magic move. Instead of being demanding like, "Let me speak to the boss," you make this really soft ask. You say,
So I was hoping you could tell me who that is. Or should I just have you transfer me over to her to leave a voicemail? It makes it so easy for them to say yes. You're not asking for a meeting, you're just asking for help leaving a message. It's just a brilliant, super low-friction way to get that transfer.
All right, now for our second scenario. This one is a total masterclass in creating what's called a pattern interrupt. If you're a real estate investor, listen up, because this takes that curiosity trigger to a whole other level.
Okay, just picture this for a second. Your phone rings. You pick it up, and the person on the other end, in that same kind of confused tone, says, "Yeah, hi, John. I'm holding a copy of your property tax records," and you can hear them kind of shuffling papers in the background. Tell me you're not hanging up that phone. No way. Your mind is instantly racing, right? Who is this? Is it the county? Did I do something wrong? The curiosity is it's completely overwhelming.
And the follow-up is just as genius. First, you say something like, and I'm not even sure if it makes sense for us to talk. That's a classic push away. You push them away, and human nature makes them want to pull you back in. Then you deepen the mystery even more. You say, especially after reviewing page 3 of your tax records. Page 3? Now they have to know what's on page 3. And then the final question. Would you be opposed to having a brief conversation? This is just beautiful. It uses their desire to say no to your advantage, because to agree, they have to say, no, I'm not opposed.
So when you boil it all down, what's the real takeaway here? It's this. Stop pitching solutions. Instead, start using curiosity to talk about problems. Don't lead with who you are or what your company does. Lead with a potential problem that your prospect might not even be aware of, but one they will absolutely want to solve. So I'll lead you with this question. What's the page 3 of the tax records in your industry? Because if you can figure that out, that's the key that's going to unlock pretty much every conversation.